Flags are at half-staff today after another mass shooting. 10 people were killed during Lunar New Year celebrations in Southern California. President Biden has ordered flags at half-staff until Thursday. Officials have not released the names of any of the victims as they're still working to notify next of kin. Police say the suspect is dead. Officers say he took his own life as SWAT team members surrounded his van just hours after the attack. Jay Gray has more on what we know this morning.
Units requested, multiple victims, gunshot wounds.
A spray of gunfire cuts through a packed Monterey Park dance club. The scene chaos as police first arrive.
And my young officers did their job, searched for a suspect, and then came back and had to deal with the carnage that was inside. And it was extensive.
10 dead. 10 more wounded. The suspect, according to police, on the run, showing up at a similar ballroom in nearby Alhambra about 20 minutes later, where he's confronted by people inside the club.
And he was disarmed by two community members who I consider to be heroes because they saved lives.
As he escapes, witnesses get a glimpse of his vehicle.
They have this white cargo van completely surrounded right now.
Police tracking it down 12 hours later in Torrance.
They're breaching the van.
Inside, 72-year-old Hu Can Tran, the man police say is responsible for the killing spree, dead from what appears to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. According to investigators, evidence inside the van ties Tran to both locations. What it doesn't do is help to explain how or why it happened, and it does little to ease the concerns of this frightened, grieving community.
Hearing this happen now is just very shocking, very sad, because it's just confirming that there's no safe place anymore.
Jay Gray, NBC News, Monterey Park, California.
Our coverage now continues with 90's reporter Darius Johnson. And Darius, a lot of reaction from Denver's Asian American community as well.
Yeah, Sunday was the start of the Lunar New Year for those who celebrate, and many of them, they often gather the night before. The celebration that was taking place in California was also happening right here in Denver. For the last 30 years, Mimi Long and her family have hosted Lunar New Year celebrations at the Far East Center that they own. The family describes this as a time of reflection and togetherness, symbolizing time with family and friends. Long says she wasn't going to let the massacre in California impact celebrations right here in Denver. For that reason, she asked Denver police officers to be present for their gathering to help people who attended feel safe.
To me, I feel like no matter what goes on, we should still continue to bring joy to everyone in this community. And with everything going on in the world, we should continue to host more events to bring more togetherness that makes the community strong.
The family says for the last couple of years, they've worked with Denver police to ensure the safety of those who choose to attend Lunar New Year celebrations. All of this comes amid rise in attacks on the Asian American and Pacific Islander community nationwide over the last couple of years, Corey.
It is just heartbreaking. I know coming up the next half hour, you're going to have a little bit more information about what we've learned about the suspect.
Yeah, in the next half hour, we will talk a little bit more about the suspect and what police are starting to release and reveal about him. They are also gaining new interviews with witnesses, friends, and family, even his ex-wife, to learn a little bit more about his mental state, his characteristics, and if anyone possibly saw this coming.
Starting to piece it all together. All right, Darius, thank you.
Today is the first deadline day for migrants in Denver's city-run shelters. 2 weeks ago, the city started a new rule limiting people to a 14-day stay in a shelter. The city says they won't kick out people who don't have a place to live, but that they're working with people on alternative solutions like finding volunteers to host people. People living in shelters are worried about making a plan in an unfamiliar city.
No es suficiente el tiempo, de verdad que 14 días es muy poco tiempo para nosotros porque se acaban los 14 días, entonces nosotros, ¿qué vamos a hacer? Si no tenemos familia en este país, entonces vamos a salir con estos fríos, no sé qué vamos a hacer con la comida. Es bastante peligroso.
Each person's 14-day mark will be different depending on when they go into the shelter.
Right now, police in Westminster are hoping you can help find a driver who hit someone and then took off. It happened around 6:15 last night on Federal near Highway 36. Police say a driver in a black Chevy Silverado hit a man and then kept going. That man is in the hospital with serious injuries. Police say the car has a lot of damage to the front right side. They're asking anyone who sees a car with that damage or knows anything to contact Westminster Police. Also developing at this hour, police in Denver say DU basketball player Coben Porter, the brother of Nuggets player Michael Porter Jr., is under arrest tied to a deadly crash. The crash happened just before 2 Sunday morning at University in Bucktown, right by the DU campus. Police say they arrested Coben Porter at the scene. He was booked into jail on investigation for vehicular homicide and then bailed out. Porter is one of DU basketball's best players, though he hasn't played this season due to injuries.
Happening this week, the people in charge of regulating utility companies will talk about why electric and gas bills are so high right now. It's been a brutal couple of months for XL bills. The Public Utilities Commission says it's getting double the usual number of complaints. The meeting is scheduled for Wednesday. The town of Superior is asking the state to give Marshall fire survivors a tax break as well. Town leaders say state taxes are adding too much to rebuilding costs. They already waived some taxes tied to rebuilding, but Superior town trustees say they are still state and run RTD use taxes that could cost nearly $10,000 per family. The trustees sent a letter to Governor Polis and Democratic leaders at the Capitol asking the state to waive those taxes. Lawmakers already had an opportunity to do just that last year, but it did not pass. Well, believe it or not, it's already that time of year. Of course, tax season officially starting today.
I'm trying to contain my excitement. W-2s are being sent out. Filing can start right now. The IRS says people who file electronically should get their refund within 3 weeks. But financial experts say refunds will likely be smaller this year. Families with young children won't get as much in tax credits this year. The deadline, by the way, April 18th, 3 extra days for procrastinators to get theirs done.